Welcome back to our channel, where we learn English through movies. In today's video, we'll be reviewing the action-packed film Special Forces. We'll explore key vocabulary, phrases, and expressions used in the movie to help you improve your English while enjoying an exciting story. Let's dive into the action. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends who want to learn English through films. Let's get started. The film begins with a French selected task force on a high-stakes duty in Kosovo to arrest a notorious war criminal. The team is split into two units. One prepares a ground assault, while the other readies an ambush from the air. Once the target is captured, they are swiftly transported on a fighter jet to the command center for legal processing. The story then shifts to Afghanistan, centering on the village of Kabul. Here, a French journalist named Elsa is conducting an interview with a woman named Mana. During the discussion, Mana narrates her traumatic life story. As a child, she lost her parents and sister under secretive conditions and was later sold to Ziv, a dreaded and ruthless Taliban leader. As the interview reveals, Ziv and his men discover them. With no other option, Mana and Elsa are forced to flee. In the chaos, Elsa manages to escape with the help of her colleague. Unfortunately, their escape is short-lived as Ziv's men capture them along the way. News of Elsa and Amin's abduction quickly reaches the French government, prompting an emergency meeting among top officials. After intense deliberation, the French president authorizes a high-level covert operation, tasking an elite joint task force with rescuing Elsa and Amin. The story then shifts to the French Special Forces headquarters, where the commander of the Joint Elite Forces, Kovac, is announced alongside Lucas, one of his trusted team members. Later, while spending time with his family, Kovac receives a call from his superior, Admiral Gazek. The admiral urgently instructs Kovac and Lucas to prepare for a critical mission. Without delay, the two are soon aboard a Hercules transport plane, heading to Afghanistan, specifically the volatile Wardak province. Upon arriving in Afghanistan, Lucas and Kovac are transported by helicopter to Gandamak, near the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. On board, they are joined by Elias, a sniper specialist from another division. These three elite officers are set to rendezvous with three other French Special Forces members already stationed at Camp Gandamak, a French military base strategically located near the border. At Camp Gandamak, the scene introduces several key team members. Victor is seen honing his shooting skills with unwavering dedication. Tic-Tac builds rapport with local children, and Marius is frequently observed issuing commands to his troops with precision. Before long, the entire French Joint Task Force assembles to strategize for the critical rescue mission. During the briefing, Kovac outlines their primary objective: to rescue Elsa and Amin, who are being held hostage by the Taliban in a heavily fortified village within a tribal area of Pakistan. The scene shifts to the waters near Pakistan, where a helicopter is attempting to land on the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier. Amidst the commotion, Admiral Gazek, a seasoned special operations commander, arrives on board to oversee the mission. Meanwhile, at the French government offices, the president and key officials watch a distressing video of Elsa being interrogated by Ziv. As a grim warning, Ziv executes one of her informants who had been aiding her reporting in Afghanistan, leaving Elsa horrified and helpless as she witnesses the brutal act. Determined to prevent further tragedy and unwilling to let another French citizen fall victim to the Taliban, the French president authorizes the defense minister and Admiral Gazek to launch the planned operation without delay. In response, the elite joint task force is flown into the region on a Hercules aircraft, heading toward the area dominated by Ziv's Taliban forces. Upon arrival, Kovac and his team execute a high-stakes parachute drop into the remote and rugged terrain of Pakistan, ready to begin their perilous mission. Landing safely and preparing for their mission, Kovac and his team begin strategizing for the operation. Elsewhere, a Pakistani intelligence agent, is covertly tracking Malukin, a prominent spiritual leader of the Taliban. However, Malukin, aware of the surveillance, skillfully deceives the agent. As a distraction, a doppelganger exits in a different direction near the compound's entrance, allowing the real Malukin to evade detection and proceed to a secret meeting with Ziv, who has been awaiting his arrival. During their discussion, Malukin expresses his frustration with Ziv for sparing Elsa's life and instead executing her informant first. He criticizes Ziv's decision, insisting that Elsa must be eliminated immediately to send a stronger message. Immediately after delivering his demand that Elsa be executed, Malukin departs, reiterating that Westerners are considered their greatest enemy. Meanwhile, Kovac and his special forces team locate the site where Elsa and Ayman are being held hostage. However, the area is heavily fortified by Taliban fighters. Through surveillance, they witness the Taliban preparing to execute several prisoners, including Mana. Disturbed by the impending tragedy, Elias pleads with Kovac for permission to intervene and rescue Mana and the others. Kovac, however, refuses, reminding Elias that their mission is strictly to save Elsa and Ayman. Helplessly, they watch as the executions proceed. Once the area is secure, Kovac and his team launch their operation. Elias, positioned as a sniper on a high vantage point, keeps a vigilant watch. He quickly identifies the room where Elsa and Ayman are held captive, enabling Kovac and his team to move in swiftly. After rescuing Elsa and Ayman, the group prepares to withdraw. As they make their escape, Elias alerts Kovac that the Taliban have detected their presence. Chaos ensues as Ziv arrives at the scene, shocked to find his stronghold under attack. Upon learning that French special forces have infiltrated the camp, Ziv orders his men to track down and capture the intruders. Leading his team, along with Elsa and Ayman, Kovac directs their retreat toward the rugged, rocky mountains. While taking a brief rest, Tic Tac reports that their communication device was damaged during the earlier firefight, leaving them without a means to call for reinforcements. After Ziv spots two helicopters approaching to extract Kovac's team, he orders his forces to intensify their pursuit. Later, Lucas checks the coordinates for the designated pickup location, only to realize it is too exposed and likely visible to the Taliban. Recognizing the danger, Kovac immediately requests an emergency signal be sent to command to adjust the plan. Moments later, they spot Elias being chased by Ziv's men. Determined not to abandon a teammate, the team launches a coordinated counterattack to cover Elias, leading to an intense firefight. Once the battle subsides, Tic Tac sends an emergency signal to the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier. The message, received directly by Admiral Gazak, requests a relocation of the extraction point to a safer location 20 miles from the original site. Meanwhile, as the evacuation helicopters approach, they come under heavy fire from Ziv's forces. Hearing the attack, Kovac and his team prepare to assist, but the assault proves overwhelming. The evacuation attempt fails as one of the helicopters is forced to make an emergency landing after being struck by Taliban fire. At the French government office, the president receives grim news of the failed extraction and the downed helicopter, escalating the urgency of the operation. That night, the Special Forces team takes a brief rest, fully aware that the Taliban remain in pursuit. Lucas and Victor are assigned to the first watch, taking turns standing guard while the others sleep. The next morning, on the second day of their journey, the team continues their grueling trek, knowing the Taliban are still tracking them. During a brief stop, Kovac uses his compass to navigate and determine their next potential evacuation point. He explains to the team that they must follow the river, which leads toward Afghanistan, lying just beyond the mountains. Though the path is treacherous, it is their only hope for reaching safety. Meanwhile, aboard the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier, Admiral Gazak orders fighter jets to search for the team, as all contact has been lost since their communication device was damaged. To avoid detection by the Taliban, Kovac's team employs camouflage techniques, remaining hidden even as the French jets scan the rugged terrain. By the third day, the team takes a momentary rest amidst the harsh environment. Suddenly, Elias spots a Taliban force led by Ziv advancing toward their position. With no other choice, Kovac and his team prepare for battle, leading to another intense firefight. Despite being outnumbered and outmatched in the unforgiving terrain, Kovac's leadership and the team's discipline enable them to push back Ziv's troops. Later, the exhausted but determined team regroups, knowing that more challenges lie ahead as they press on toward their ultimate goal of survival and rescue. The retreat of his forces after the clash leaves Ziv furious. Enraged by the setback, he harshly disciplines his men to assert control and orders them to continue their relentless pursuit of the French special forces. On the fourth day, Admiral Gazik intensifies efforts to locate Kovac and his team, deploying two helicopters to scan the rugged mountain terrain. The admiral, burdened by the weight of his decision to send the team into such a perilous mission, reflects on the risks they face and the uncertainty of their survival. Later that day, Kovac and his team come across a small, remote village where they are met with kindness and hospitality from the locals. The brief respite allows them to recover from the physical and emotional toll of their journey. However, their peace is tragically interrupted when Marius is fatally shot by an enemy sniper. Acting quickly, the team identifies the sniper's location and neutralizes the threat in a tense exchange. With sorrow in their hearts, they lay Marius to rest near the village, mourning the loss of their comrade. During this moment of reflection, Victor asks Aemon to lead a prayer honoring Marius's sacrifice and ensuring he is remembered. Despite their grief, the team resolves to press on, driven by their mission and the memory of their fallen teammate. On the fifth day, Ziv and his forces approach the village where the team had briefly stayed. Tic-Tac spots the advancing group from a distance and alerts Kovac and the others. As the danger closes in, Aemon makes an unexpected decision to return to the village. He believes he can help the locals and potentially delay Ziv's forces, giving the team a chance to continue their escape. Despite Kovac's protests, Aemon insists, urging the team to focus on their mission and leave him behind, trusting in their strength to succeed. On the other side of the mountain, Elias is being relentlessly pursued by Ziv's men. Determined to buy time for Kovac and the rest of the team, he leads the Taliban forces on a wild chase, drawing them further away from his comrades. With the odds stacked against him, Elias makes the ultimate sacrifice, allowing his team to gain precious distance and a chance to escape. Meanwhile, Kovac and the others climb to altitudes of 3,800 to 3,900 meters, where the cold and the snow become unforgiving. Weakened by the harsh conditions, Victor, fearing for his survival, pleads with Kovac to leave him behind. But Kovac refuses, steadfast in his resolve to keep the team intact. Elias, on the other hand, continues running from Ziv's forces on the other side of the mountain. Though he pauses occasionally to catch his breath, the exhaustion eventually overpowers him. He accepts his fate and prepares for a final stand, knowing his sacrifice may buy his team enough time. On the sixth day, Kovac and his team find themselves surrounded by snow and freezing winds. They tend to Victor, who is groaning in pain from his wound, as the weather grows harsher. With the snowfall intensifying and the winds becoming unbearable, the team huddles together, doing everything they can to shield Victor from the cold. By the seventh day, the five are partially buried under snow, barely able to keep going. Kovac, Elsa, and Lucas awaken to find that Victor is no longer with them. The harsh reality sets in as they discover he has passed away leaning against a rock beside Tic-Tac. In a quiet and solemn moment, they bury Victor there, in the snow-covered mountains, honoring his sacrifice. With heavy hearts, the remaining 4 survivors continue their journey to Afghanistan, hoping to escape the relentless pursuit of the Taliban. Slowly but steadily they press on, climbing higher in the mountains, driven by their determination to reach safety. By the 8th day, Kovac, Lucas, Elsa, and Tic-Tac continue to trek through the freezing cold and steady snowfall, their strength and resolve keeping them going despite the overwhelming odds. On the 9th day, the relentless snow finally begins to clear, bringing a small measure of relief. However, Elsa still cannot walk on her own, and the team continues to carry her, inching forward through the rough terrain. After a long trek, they finally spot a river, marking one of the crucial landmarks on their path to Afghanistan. Elsa, having regained some strength, is able to walk with assistance. Though she remains weak, as they ascend another mountain, their physical condition deteriorates rapidly. Days of grueling travel have taken their toll, and their situation worsens when they are ambushed by Ziv's forces. Elsa tries to escape, but Ziv quickly pursues her. Amid the intense firefight that ensues, both Lucas and Tic-Tac are struck by gunfire. Kovac manages to eliminate all of Ziv's men, but the battle isn't over. Ziv himself appears, holding Elsa hostage. Kovac rushes to check on Lucas, who is gravely wounded, and then hurries to aid Tic-Tac, who has also been shot. In a heartbreaking moment, Kovac realizes that Lucas cannot be saved due to the severity of his injuries. With heavy hearts, the remaining 3 Kovac, Elsa, and Tic-Tac bury Lucas, placing stones over his grave as they mourn the loss of their comrade. The cold mountain air amplifies their grief, but they know they must continue on. Just as they are about to move forward, 2 Taliban members unexpectedly appear. Kovac and his team brace themselves for another attack, but to their surprise, the men do not engage in violence. Instead, they come to pay their respects to Lucas. This unexpected moment of respect, amidst the ongoing chaos, offers a rare and somber pause, reminding them of the complexity and unexpected humanity that can surface even in the harshest of times. On the 10th day, the team continues their journey, climbing the mountains once more. This time, Tic-Tac, injured and weak, is supported by Elsa and Kovac. Though the Taliban no longer pursue them, their struggles are far from over. The trio must navigate the rugged terrain, climbing up and down the mountains in search of safety. During a brief rest, Tic-Tac checks their location, estimating that they are just 3 to 4 hours away from their destination. Kovac, ever resourceful, suggests a shortcut to reach the Afghanistan-Pakistan border more quickly. But as they prepare to continue, disaster strikes. A sudden rockslide leaves Kovac with a severe leg injury. With both Kovac and Tic-Tac unable to walk, Kovac makes the difficult decision to send Elsa ahead alone to find help. He gives her a compass for navigation, and Tic-Tac hands her a weapon for protection. Reluctantly, Elsa sets off alone, leaving her 2 companions behind. That night, Elsa faces a relentless rainstorm, but she presses on, determined to fulfill her mission. On the 11th day, after hours of walking, her body grows weak, and her water supply runs low. Eventually, exhaustion overtakes her, and she collapses. On the 12th day, the Admiral receives the news that Elsa has been found alive at a French air base in Afghanistan. The foreign minister urges Elsa to return to Paris immediately, but she refuses to leave without ensuring that Kovac and Tic-Tac are rescued. Determined, the Admiral arrives, and together with Elsa, they prepare for a mission to save the 2 remaining survivors. 2 helicopters, accompanied by other French special forces, are deployed for the operation. In the helicopter, Elsa directs the Admiral to the exact location of Kovac and Tic-Tac. The atmosphere is thick with a mix of relief, sadness, and joy as they approach their destination. At long last, Kovac and Tic-Tac are saved, bringing an end to their days of grueling survival and hardship. The moral lesson from their story: